The old Blackwood Manor stood on a windswept hill overlooking the town of Silent Hollow, a place locals avoided after dark. It was said, the house remembered, that its very stones held the echoes of unspeakable events. I, driven by a foolish need to prove the legends wrong, had inherited it. The first night was uneventful, save for the incessant creaking of the floorboards and the mournful sighing of the wind through broken window panes. I told myself it was just the old house settling, the loneliness whispering in the dark. The second night was different. I was in the library, a vast room lined with decaying leather-bound books, when I heard it. A whisper, so faint it was almost imperceptible, seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. It wasn't a word, not really, but a sibilant, drawn-out sound, like air escaping a long-dead lung. I dismissed it as my imagination, the product of too much solitude and too little sleep. But the whispering persisted, growing louder, more insistent with each passing hour. It followed me from room to room, a constant, unsettling presence. Then the whispers began to form words. At first they were fragmented, disjointed, cold, alone. Watch. But as the night wore on, they became clearer, more coherent, weaving together into a chilling narrative. The walls spoke of a family, the Blackwoods, who had lived in the house centuries ago, a tale of madness, betrayal, and a terrible secret buried deep within the manor's foundations. They spoke of a young woman, Eliza, locked away in the attic, her sanity slowly unraveling in the suffocating darkness. The whispers described her torment, her desperate pleas for release, and the cruel laughter of her captors. They spoke of a hidden room, a place of unimaginable horror, where Eliza had finally met her end. As the story unfolded, the house itself seemed to change. The temperature plummeted, and shadows stretched long and distorted, dancing in the corners of my eyes. The air grew thick with the stench of decay and something else, something acrid and metallic, like old blood. I tried to leave, to escape the whispering walls and the growing sense of dread that enveloped me. But the doors wouldn't open, the windows wouldn't budge. The house had become a prison, and I was its unwilling guest. The whispers reached a fever pitch, their voices rising in a cacophony of despair and rage. They revealed the secret of the hidden room, a ritual, a dark pact made with something ancient and malevolent that had cursed the Blackwood family and bound their tormented souls to the house. And then the whispers turned to me, their voices dripping with malice. They told me I was the next, the one chosen to continue the cycle of Coder. The house wanted me, needed me, to feed its insatiable hunger. I felt a presence behind me, cold and heavy like a shroud. I turned slowly, my heart pounding in my chest, and saw it, a figure, gaunt and twisted, stood in the doorway. Its face was obscured by shadows, but I could see its eyes. Two burning coals of hatred fixed on me with an unholy intensity. It reached out for me, its long skeletal fingers outstretched. The whispers reached a crescendo, a deafening roar that filled my mind and threatened to shatter my sanity. I screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the house, absorbed by the whispering walls that had become my tomb. The last thing I saw before the darkness claimed me was the figure's twisted grin, a promise of eternal torment in the heart of Blackwood Manor. The house had its new resident, and the whispers would never be silent again.